It's Jackson Page against Ronnie O'Sullivan. The first 4 frames to play the shanghai or Fergal O'Brien in round 3. And it's good afternoon to Neil Foles.
Yes, good afternoon, Philip. Always interesting to watch O'Sullivan. He played okay the other night, but it'll be quite interesting to see how he gets on against Jackson Page, who, of course, is a very promising player. I do think that this match is probably going to be suited to the style of O'Sullivan. If it's a very open and quick game, then very few people beat Ronnie in that way. But he's playing a good player in Jackson. He's won a match at the Crucible before, beating Barry Hawkins there. Not the most recent championship, the one before.
I've only played once before. That was the UK Championship, and it was a long time ago now, 2017, when Page was still only 16. Routine victory in the first round for O'Sullivan against Andrew Paget, but he was struggling a little with the tennis elbow that's been plaguing him on and off for the last 18 months now. He's had a couple of cortisone injections and he's been taking painkillers. Apparently the problem is at its worst when he's attempting power shots. He was wincing a bit in that victory over Paget, so we'll keep an eye on that. But apparently he's now okay, now that the painkillers have done their job, so hopefully that won't be an issue. Won this title in 2017, and even by O'Sullivan's standards, his performance in the final was remarkable. Beat Kyren Wilson 9-2. He made 4 centuries. He averaged 82 points per frame in that final. His average shot time was under 17 seconds for the match, and he missed just 6 balls when the frames were live in the entire final, so that was some display. But last season he didn't get past the quarterfinals of any ranking event, and of course this is his first appearance in a ranking tournament this season. This is the 4th of the new campaign, and O'Sullivan has withdrawn from the other 3, although he did win the invitational Shanghai Masters, of course. But he's always played in the home nations, and in beating Paget in round 1, he maintained his record of having always won his first round match in every home nations event, which is pretty remarkable, really.
Yes, I mean, Jackson Page won his qualifier quite a while ago. He not won a match here in Brentwood this week, and we're into the Wednesday, so it's quite a long time to enter the fray with without any matches. And of course O'Sullivan did win that match on day 1, as Philip pointed out. It's Andrew Paget comfortably. Go out. The likes of Robertson, Kyren Wilson, Sean Murphy, Mark Selby, others, Barry Hawkins, but you're not putting Ronnie necessarily on your shortlist, I don't think. Not many are. Not because we don't think he's a great player, because we know he is. It's just that, you know, invariably his home nations, he wins a few matches and then bows out about the quarterfinals. That's been the trend over the years, but of course he can win it. Especially in Brentwood, he'd probably get a lot of pleasure out of that.
It's about a 50-minute drive from his house, so a relatively straightforward commute for O'Sullivan, who turns 48 in December.
11.
Chasing his 40th ranking title this week. Hasn't won one since he won his record-equaling 7th World Championship last year. One of a number of the big guns who didn't quite fire as they normally would in the ranking tournaments last season. Neil Robertson,
18.
Higgins being a couple of other notables.
I think he's been getting inspiration from what Mark Williams has been doing, winning last
24.
week in Cheltenham, beating Mark Selby in that
25.
final Sunday night. Obviously, the fact that Ronnie won in Shanghai, that those players are still right at the top of the tree, aren't they? John Higgins probably win this week now, knowing the way he's going, although he's playing that
32.
brilliantly in what I've seen. And he's still in.
33.
So they're all still force to be reckoned with. That's probably an understatement.
Yes, and it's not as though O'Sullivan hasn't still been winning trophies. Last season he won the Hong Kong Masters, the big invitational, in front of record-breaking crowds, beat Marco Fu in the final. He won the Champion of Champions, beating Trump. And he's won Shanghai for a 5th time
41.
and a 4th in a row with his victory over Brussels a couple of weeks ago. So when he's in the mood, he's still the man to beat.
Yeah. 48.
Yeah, such a beautiful, natural player of opening the bunch. He knew that this red was in play anyhow, and he would finish on something. He wasn't relying on anything in the bunch to get into play because he knew he had a red. I don't think this is going to be a long match, even if it went all the way to 7th frame.
49.
Get the feeling that these two will rattle through the frames the way they play.
It's a tricky red to the left centre.
57.
Looking increasingly likely to cost him. O'Sullivan into the groove quickly. It was quite a scratchy match against Paget. He was never under any threat. There were quite a few errors, but it's about winning these early rounds in the home nations, building up your form
64.
as you go.
Well, the early indications are A, that he's playing all right, and B, he looks to be, you know, up for the task. He looks fairly focused in what he's doing.
65.
Sometimes that's half the battle with O'Sullivan. You can tell within a first half a frame whether he's going to play any good or not. Just if he's got this sort of zoned in approach. So far, so good.
We'll hear from him a bit later, speaking to Alan on Discovery Plus, and he does mention the fact that he didn't
71.
take any painkillers ahead of his match against Paget, so that was part of the problem, but they seem to have done the job. And this has been a very smooth visit to the table.
76. '77.
Yeah, bank of spectators here to watch the great man play in his home county of Essex. Big snooker fraternity in this part of the world. Some good players.
82.
Bordering on great players have come out of Essex, this man being the best of them all.
83.
So this is a lovely start. That's a beautiful little cannon as well. Stun run through off the red. So far, so good.
'90. 91.
Pretty ominous message this, isn't
98.
it, to Jackson Page early in the piece. You miss, I'll hit.
99.
He's made this look very easy, playing at his usual electric pace, although he never looks as though he's rushing. And there's century number 1211, the crowd loving it.
5.
What a start to the afternoon.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 105 in the throw.
No clearance, but 105 will do.